One more video about fashion and I swear guys, I'll talk about something else. But yeah, in these past 3 videos, we've talked about the design aspect of a character's clothing. In this video, I want to explore the writing aspect and how it could be tied to building a character, so buckle up. I'm hoping this could be a fast yet informative one. You know how there are writing tropes that are so bad that you immediately want to hop in your car, run a red light, and crash into a brick wall, only to end up in a hospital? You know, those kinds of tropes? Like the "it was all a dream" one, or poor communication where drama stems from misunderstandings. You know, those kinds of tropes. Me personally, I hate the mirror trope. It's essentially when the story starts, a character wakes up or whatever, and they're now checking themselves in the mirror. Something like, Rosemary stretched, did a slight yawn, then dragged herself in front of the mirror. She wore golden square glasses, a yellow shirt with puffed sleeves, blue jeans, and black Converse. Yes, she did wear this to bed. Looking good, she murmured to herself. Why did I give myself a fake accent? Anyways, this trope, I hate it so much. Why are we stopping the whole story to describe a character? I mean, I get if you were texting your friend the description of your OC or adding it to Toy House or whatever, but in the book, my guy? Why would the color of Rosemary's shirt be important? You saw the video title, "We are trying to build characters through clothing choices." This paragraph vomit builds nothing. If anything, it's just boring. And some people don't even do the mirror thing. They'll just stop the whole story and start describing the whole character, like if it was a suspect description. The suspect was last seen wearing a yellow shirt and golden glasses. If you have any information, please call the police. Is your character wanted for murder? Why are we stopping the whole story? But honestly, y'all, I keep saying people this, people that. People is me. I am people, and I am guilty of this. I have stopped stories to write my character's descriptions, and I saw no issue with it until I started to read other people's stories and got immediately bored with it, especially when it's back-to-back character descriptions, describing everything about the character the second they spawn. I know there's the opposite problem where someone doesn't explain a character feature until 10 chapters later, and now the imagination doesn't match with the text. So in that case, we need to get our descriptions out in a timely manner while also making it interesting. Not an easy challenge. But okay, we're built different, we could do this. How do we build a character through their clothing choices and make it interesting? Of course, with show don't tell. The whole mirror thing is kind of funny because it's using an action like walking to the mirror as a way to disguise telling. But everyone and their mom know this trick. So instead of having all the information put in one paragraph, how about spreading out the actions throughout the story? I don't know. She readjusted her square glasses and stared intensely, or she walked slowly, her black Converse gently hitting the pavement. It's not much, but from this we can gather some information like this character is focused, or this character is cautious. The mirror thing, however, low-key just shows the character is vain, especially if they're standing there describing themselves from head to toe in their mind, you just wake up and do this every morning. It's a very vain action. Honestly, I would save this mirror trope for an actual, vain character. But whether you like it or not, remember that the door is always red, meaning that things can indirectly or directly be symbolized. The objects a character interacts with can show subtle hints of symbolism, even if it's just their clothing. But now you're probably wondering, how would I describe the yellow shirt if I can't describe it without telling? Honestly, if you can't find an action to describe it, then it's probably not even important. Just be like she grabbed the yellow shirt from the drawer and hastily put it on. I don't know, man. Even that sentence kind of feels forced. I can't even remember what most of the protagonists of my favorite books are even wearing. What did Katniss wear? While reading The Hunger Games, I have no idea. It could have been like a Supreme shirt for all we know. I don't know, man. Her clothing only became relevant once the story really started to pick up. One example would be her chariot dress. Another would be her interview dress. Clothing that she was required to wear, but made Katniss never truly feel like herself. Let me share one quote that Katniss later made about her wedding dress that I liked. "I am still the girl on fire. The sheer fabric softly glows. Even the slight movement in the air sends a ripple up my body. By comparison, the chariot costume seems garish. The interview dress too contrived. In this dress, I give the illusion of wearing candlelight." When she first puts on these clothes, she had mixed feelings about them, but as the story progressed, she found something more symbolic for her cause, something not garish or contrived, but instead something that makes her feel like the girl on fire. Even if it's that wedding dress. No spoilers here. Of course, the clothing in this book typically symbolizes rebellion or politics or restraint. It's the best way to use clothes as symbolism, simply through time progression. Sometimes you want to symbolize the clothes, other times clothes are just clothes with no meaning, and both are pretty valid. I would just say at the bare minimum, if you tie a style to their personality, like on some borderline total drama stereotyping shit, just do that. You're good, no notes. I mentioned that Gioni wears grunge. Grunge is typically associated with rebellion and anti-consumerism, and that character gives off that vibes through her actions. I mean, it's hard to take part in consumerism when you're all out of money. So there's that. I mentioned that Lamisha wears athletic clothes. It shows discipline and strength that she's always training in and outside of her uniform. That's all good and well, nothing deep or groundbreaking. It's there for a quick read and nothing more. But man, what happens when the style of a character changes drastically throughout time? Firstly, I think it's a good way to find out what year we're in, like what point of the story we're in. Steven Universe does that well with the gems. I also like it when it's done in The Walking Dead, where Clem went from wearing this cute dress to straight up tactical gear, always keeping that hat, but losing that innocent off-white dress as the story progresses. She learns more about her world, and because of that, she adapts accordingly. Adapting is an important aspect of time progression. It can often be the cause of it too. Two OCs that I have with the biggest leap between styles would definitely be Hippie Girl and Emmett. Prior to the clothes we see here, they were wearing juvie outfits for 5 years. Now they're free people. Okay, so with that freedom to wear anything, what did these two gravitate towards? Emmett gravitated toward alternative fashion. I drew like a dark, fucked up version of Emmett. Just a glimpse into my dark reality. A full stare into my twisted perspective would make most simply go insane, Lamau. But really, I drew him like this because at this point of his life, he realized how screwed he was. He just got out of juvie. He learns that his parents left years ago for a mission. Everyone hates him. When he tries to train as an agent, he's way behind and people are mean to him. Plus, I'm sure he harbors whatever trauma he gained while in juvie. Of course, from his life experiences, his fashion choice would have an alternative, individualistic feel to it, especially since he's mostly isolated. That dude is not conforming. With Hippie Girl, she doesn't have the same pressures as Emmett. Her parents weren't agents, and she doesn't care to be an agent. Hell, she isn't even from the city. Right now, she's here despite being born all the way over there. Her clothing style reflects her culture, but it also reflects her insecurity. Baggy clothes can appear insecure in a way that she's hiding herself, shielding herself. There's this aura that hints at the fear of judgment and the fear of her past, wanting to seem invisible because she already knows she's hated. Why even dare draw attention to herself with flashy clothes? But eventually this changes for both characters. I see these evolutions in style as a way to change their current struggles. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. But The being more colorful and open was a step towards that change, but I have a feeling that this wouldn't be their last change, especially since this change is more extrinsic compared to intrinsic. Why a character wears a certain style can be extrinsic, which is motivation driven by external factors like conformity and assimilation. It can also be intrinsic, like dressing alternative to the norm, not caring about how others view you. This fact is present in the real world. It can be present in your fake worlds as well. When it comes to style, there's always a time and place, and a character's work clothes can contribute towards symbolism, especially since when wearing a uniform, it's often a balance of being yourself while pleasing authority. The uniform has always been the thing to symbolize conformity. The idea of everyone being the same, therefore no one is an individual. But I'd argue the opposite. Through restrictions, creativity is born. For example, in my middle school, we were all forced to wear red, white, and blue polos. That was the restriction. So people would find creativity in their fashion in other ways, like wearing colored shoes or jackets, colored skinny jeans, because that was a thing. Jordans being the coolest and Skechers being the funniest. I know some schools had it bad where you could only wear like a certain style from head to toe. In that case, that's when someone would find individualism through jewelry or hair accessories. If not that, makeup and nail polish. There is no restriction on a truly individualistic person. The first thing that comes to mind when I think of like an individualistic person in uniform, it'd be Goth Boy. Specifically his turkey on a fork uniform. This design is so silly in the best way possible. Minimum wage cannot contain this goth. And the gravy tier in the concept art, that should have made it to the final game, I'm sorry. But yeah, put your OCs in a uniform and give them a job. I swear half y'all OCs are in the unemployed community. Comment down below. I need comments. What is your OC's jobs? Because you guys are leaving it out the ref sheets. I swear. I need to know. But anyway, in this video, I briefly mentioned that you could tell a lot about a character depending on how they wear their uniform. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not going to rewatch that shit. But I will elaborate on it here. Joe, Elijah, and Zariah are all wearing the same thing. Things that they would have in common would be the brown and the white collared button up, but other than that, you could tell that they each have their unique take on it. Joe is a default. His is very basic because it's his idea. I could already hear his pitch yapping about how it'll make them look more professional and smart or whatever. It's a very academic and simple look for a simple man. And I'm afraid to call this man academic or smart because he'd prove me wrong in 5 seconds. No, actually more like 3. Zariah wears something similar, but with a few changes. I think it's interesting because she could have worn her clothes exactly like Joe, but the changes are what makes her personality. She does embrace more feminine presenting clothing like a skirt and knee highs. Even the sweater feels unique to her. It's all very cute, it's all very adorable. Also random, but when I painted Joe and Zariah for that one video switching bodies, if you didn't watch that, go watch that, I guess. Joe and Zariah, he rolled up the sleeves, you know, because I feel like he's just more sweaty and stressed out. Zariah's sweater on Zariah, though, she typically keeps the sleeves down, and I don't know, it kind of gives like this soft feel, you know? Someone like huggable and warm, but she does roll it up when she's about to fight, so there's that. Elijah, it kind of reminds me of Goth Boy, where he clearly has his style coming out of the uniform. I mentioned in a previous video that it's mostly inspired by the skater look. I just mixed it with light academia, and now we have this. It shows some kind of rebellion in the midst of conformity, and since he skates, it's practical for him. It ties back to the first point I made in this video. Was it the first point? I think I made it some point in this video, but essentially it's good to make the characters' clothes practical to them, their personality, and their hobbies. And by simply doing that, you can build character through their clothing choices. But yeah, comment down below how you build your characters and like what fashion choices do you associate it with. If you don't know what clothes to choose, I have 3 videos here that pretty much go over it. I swear, this is the last fashion video. I'm officially off the stuff for good. For now, maybe, possibly, but it was fun to talk about this. Anyways, go check out those videos. I'll link them down below. And you know what, guys? You know what? I think that's it. That's the video. If you're interested, check out my book 2152, The Trifold Article. It's both animated and illustrated, sci-fi and adventure. Throughout the book, I love to give the characters subtle changes in their appearance. Catch every appearance change and win a prize. No purchase necessary. Ask your parents' permission for entry. That will be linked below, as well as the newsletter. I have a Discord for artists and writers that'll also be linked below. Like and subscribe and whatever, that is much appreciated. Have fun while creating today, and I'll see you guys later!